There are moments in the quiet architecture of love when something shifts without announcement, without ceremony, without the clarity of words, a decision made in the invisible chambers of the heart, a turning point that doesn't arrive with thunder, but with the softest whisper of knowing. And today, whether you felt it as a tremor in your chest or a sudden stillness in your thoughts, something essential has been decided in the realm where souls communicate beyond language. The angels speak of thresholds that are crossed not with footsteps but with intention, with the subtle recalibration of energy that happens when one person finally chooses to open, chooses to release, chooses to see what has always been present but carefully avoided. And you, beautiful soul, are standing in the aftermath of such a crossing, feeling perhaps the strange mixture of relief and uncertainty that comes when the universe confirms what your intuition has been trying to tell you for longer than you've been willing to admit. This is not about dramatic revelation or sudden transformation. This is about the sacred recognition that love, real love, operates on frequencies that exist beneath the surface of daily interaction, in the spaces between text messages and glances, in the silence that either nourishes or stars connection. And what has been decided today is not necessarily visible in the external world, but is profoundly felt in the energetic field that binds two people together or begins to gently, irreversibly separate them. The angels want you to understand that decisions of the heart are not always made consciously. Sometimes the soul decides before the mind catches up. Sometimes protection mechanisms activate before vulnerability can be voiced. Sometimes love chooses its own course while we're still trying to map the journey. And what you're experiencing now is the echo of that decision reverberating through your emotional body, asking you to trust what you feel even when you cannot yet name it or explain it to anyone else. Not even to yourself in the private hours of night, when you replay conversations and search for meaning in gestures that may have meant everything or nothing at all. There is a particular kind of loneliness that comes with sensing a shift in someone's energy towards you, a withdrawal or an approach that changes everything while appearing to change nothing. And if you have felt recently like you're reading signs in a language you used to speak fluently but now find confusing, if you've noticed distance where there was warmth or sudden attention where there was absence, understand that these are not random fluctuations, but the external manifestations of internal decisions. And the angels are here not to tell you what those decisions mean for your future, but to remind you that your own decision, your own sovereign choice about what you will accept, what you deserve, what you will no longer betray yourself to maintain, is equally sacred and equally powerful. Perhaps even more so, because it is the only decision you truly have dominion over in this dance of two souls navigating the complex terrain of human love. Between two people who share emotional or romantic connection, there exists an entire universe of unspoken truths, feelings that hover in the air during conversations, needs that go unexpressed out of fear or pride, desires that are carefully hidden behind casual interactions. And the angels see clearly into this realm of silence where so much of love's actual story unfolds, where the real relationship lives and breathes beneath the one that is performed or presented to the world. Even to each other, you have carried things you never said, haven't you? Words that felt too vulnerable to release, admissions that seemed too risky, questions that might have shattered the fragile equilibrium you were trying to maintain. And perhaps the person whose energy you're so entwined with has done the same, building their own fortress of unexpressed feeling, their own library of things they convinced themselves were better left unsaid. And now, in this moment of decision that the angels are illuminating for you, all of that unspoken weight is pressing against the walls of silence, demanding to be acknowledged even if it cannot yet be voiced. There is a particular kind of suffering that comes from loving someone while simultaneously hiding the full truth of that love, from wanting more while pretending to be satisfied with less, from feeling the distance grow while acting as though everything is fine. And if you have found yourself performing emotional neutrality, when your heart is anything but neutral, if you have measured your words and controlled your reactions and carefully maintained a facade of being unaffected when you are deeply, profoundly affected, then you know the exhaustion that comes with this kind of guardedness, the way it depletes something essential in you, the way it creates a gap between who you truly are and who you believe you must be to maintain connection with this person. The angels want you to consider something tender and difficult, that the decision made today, whether by you, by them, or by the relationship itself as a living entity, may be partly about all this unspoken weight finally becoming too heavy to carry, about the soul's wisdom, recognizing that love cannot truly grow in an environment where truth is constantly managed and vulnerability is seen as weakness rather than sacred offering. What if the shift you're feeling is not about loss, but about liberation? What if the distance or the sudden clarity or the change in energy is actually the universe's way of saying that something false has run its course and something real is trying to be born, even if that reality is painful, even if it doesn't look like the story you wanted to write? This is not to diminish your feelings or to suggest that pain is merely a lesson wrapped in spiritual packaging. Your heartache is real, your longing is valid, your confusion is completely understandable. But the angels are asking you to look beneath the surface narrative, to feel into the deeper currents, to recognize that sometimes what appears as rejection or withdrawal is actually an unconscious protection mechanism. And sometimes what feels like devastating change is actually the only path to genuine connection, either with this person on new terms or with yourself in a way you've been avoiding for far too long. There comes a time in every profound connection when we must face the uncomfortable truth that our longing can create illusions, that desire can paint potential where only possibility exists, that hope can keep us invested in someone's hidden depths while ignoring their consistent surface. And the angels are holding up a mirror for you now, not to shame you or to suggest you've been foolish, but to offer you the gift of clear seeing, which is one of the most compassionate things the spiritual realm can provide, even when it initially feels harsh or unwelcome. You have projected onto this connection, as all humans do when their hearts are involved. Projected your dreams of how it could be, your vision of who this person might become, your hope that the moments of real intimacy and recognition mean more than the longer stretches of ambiguity or distance. And there is nothing wrong with this kind of projection, except when it causes you to abandon your own emotional truth, to override your instincts, to accept treatment or situations that leave you feeling diminished or unseen, or perpetually waiting for something to shift in your favor. The decision that has been made today, the one the angels are confirming, may force you to look at this connection with new eyes, to see not only the beautiful potential that first captured your heart, but also the consistent patterns that have caused you pain, the ways in which this dynamic has perhaps required you to make yourself smaller, to need less, to pretend that uncertainty feels like mystery rather than instability. And this kind of clear seeing is not about judgment, but about honoring reality, about loving yourself enough to stop arguing with what is actually happening in favor of what you wish were happening. The angels speak a particular wound that many women carry, the learned habit of prioritizing someone else's comfort over their own clarity, of making excuses for inconsistency in the name of understanding or patience, of interpreting breadcrumbs as banquets because they so desperately want to believe in the feast that was promised or implied. And if this resonates in the tender places of your heart, if you recognize yourself in this pattern of hoping and waiting and interpreting and adjusting your needs downward to match what someone else is willing or able to give, then understand that the shift happening now is your soul's rebellion against this self-abandonment, your inner wisdom finally saying enough, even if your conscious mind hasn't caught up yet, even if part of you is still arguing for one more chance, one more conversation, one more attempt to make this person see your worth. But here's what the angels want you to truly understand. Your worth is not something that needs to be seen or validated or chosen by another person for it to exist. It is inherent. It is unchanging. It is not dependent on whether this particular connection works out or falls apart. And the real decision being made today is not primarily about whether this person stays or goes, commits or withdraws, but about whether you'll finally courageously choose yourself with the same devotion you've been offering to someone who may not be ready or willing or able to meet you in that place of sacred reciprocity. The angels want to tell you something about love that you may have forgotten in the midst of longing and uncertainty. That real love, the kind that nourishes rather than depletes, does not require you to constantly prove your value or perform emotional gymnastics to earn someone's consistent presence. And if you've found yourself in a dynamic where you feel like you're always reaching, always initiating, always wondering if you matter enough, always reading signs and analyzing silence, then what has been decided today is perhaps the universe's way of redirecting you back toward your own center, back toward the truth that you are not a problem to be solved or a risk to be carefully managed, but complete soul worthy of love that is clear, present, and unambiguous in its devotion. There is a difference between patience and self-erasure, between giving someone space and accepting emotional scraps, between honoring someone's process and abandoning your own needs in service of their comfort. And the angels see how thin this line could become, how easily we can convince ourselves that we're being understanding when we're actually being undervalued, that we're being mature when we're actually being complicit in our own diminishment. And they are here now in this moment of sacred decision to remind you that you do not have to settle for love that feels like a constant question mark, for connection that leaves you more confused and cherished, for a dynamic where you're always adjusting your expectations downward while hoping this person will eventually step up to meet you where you deserve to be met. The decision confirmed today by the angels may be a difficult one. It may involve letting go of someone you deeply care for, or it may involve that person making a choice that doesn't include you in the way you hoped, or it may involve you finally admitting to yourself that the energy you've been investing here has not been generating the kind of return that sustainable love requires. But whatever this decision looks like in its specifics, the underlying spiritual truth is the same. You are being called back to yourself, back to your own worthiness, back to the recognition that no connection, no matter how electric or potentially beautiful, is worth the cost of your own self-respect, your own peace, your own clear knowing that you deserve more than ambiguity dressed up as complexity. The angels do not promise you that this person will suddenly awaken to your value, that distance will transform into pursuit, that confusion will crystallize into commitment. These are human hopes that may or may not align with what is actually meant to unfold. But what they do promise is this: that when you honor yourself enough to stop accepting less than you deserve, when you release your grip on outcomes you cannot control, when you trust your own intuition, even when it contradicts your desires, you create space for genuine love to enter your life. Whether that means this connection transforms into something authentic and reciprocal, or it means you become available for someone whose actions match their words, whose presence feels like peace rather than perpetual uncertainty. Take a moment now, if you're willing, to place your hand on your heart and simply acknowledge one truth that lives there. It doesn't have to be complicated or perfectly articulated, just one feeling or knowing that you've been carrying. And in that acknowledgement, you're already beginning the sacred work of choosing yourself, of honoring your own emotional experience as valid and worthy of attention, regardless of how anyone else responds to it or what happens next in this particular connection. What the angels reveal in the space beyond certainty, beyond the need for immediate answers or clear resolutions, is that endings and beginnings are not always distinct events, but often exist simultaneously, braided together in ways that only become clear when you look back from a place of greater understanding. And the decision that has been made today, the shift that you're feeling in your bones, even if you cannot yet name it precisely, is both a conclusion and a commencement, both the closing of a chapter that needed to end and the opening of a doorway you didn't know was waiting for you to finally approach it with courage and self-honoring clarity. There is a particular kind of grief that accompanies this threshold space, a mourning not only for what was or what might have been, but also for the version of yourself who believed that love required self-abandonment, who thought that worthiness was something earned through patience and understanding and endless emotional availability. And as you stand here now, feeling perhaps the tender rawness of transformation, understand that you are not losing yourself in this process, but rather finding yourself, reclaiming pieces that you scattered in hopes that someone else would gather them and hold them sacred, learning that the most important loving relationship you will ever have is the one you cultivate with your own soul, your own intuition, your own capacity to recognize truth even when it arrives in uncomfortable packaging. The angels do not ask you to harden your heart or to stop believing in love's possibility. Quite the opposite. They are inviting you into a more mature, more boundaried, more self-honoring way of loving that allows for both tenderness and discernment, both openness and wisdom, both hope and healthy skepticism. And as you move forward from this point of decision, you carry with you not only the lessons learned from this particular connection, but also a deeper knowing about your own worth, your own patterns, your own responsibility in co-creating dynamics that either serve your highest good or keep you trapped in cycles that feel familiar, but ultimately unfulfilling. What you may not yet realize is that the clarity coming through today, painful as it might be, is actually a profound gift from your own higher self working in concert with angelic guidance, a loving interruption of patterns that were leading you away from rather than toward authentic connection. And while it may not feel like grace in this moment, while you may be sitting with disappointment or confusion, or the particular ache of loving someone who is not choosing you in the way you hoped, There is something being prepared in the invisible realm, something your soul has been calling in even while your heart was focused elsewhere, and the space being created by this decision, whether it involves physical distance or emotional recalibration or internal revolution, is exactly the space needed for what wants to come next, for the version of love that doesn't require you to diminish yourself to receive it, for the kind of connection that feels like coming home rather than constantly trying to earn your place at someone else's table. But there's more here, something the angels are holding close, something about what this shift truly means for the deeper patterns at play in your life, for the soul contracts being honored or released, for the next chapter of your journey that is already writing itself in ways you cannot yet perceive, and perhaps when you're ready, when you've given yourself permission to grieve and release and recalibrate, there will be another moment of guidance waiting, another message from the realm of angels who see the full map of your journey, even when you can only see the step directly in front of you. And until then, until that next threshold calls to you, know that you are held, you are guided, you are never truly alone, even in the most solitary moments of your transformation, and that everything, absolutely everything, is unfolding exactly as it needs to, for your highest good, for your deepest healing, for your eventual arrival at the love you were always meant to experience, beginning first and most importantly with the love you learn to give yourself when no one else is watching, when there is no one to perform for, when it is just you and your own beautiful, worthy, deserving heart, finally meeting each other with the full devotion that was always meant to live there. And so the angels leave you here at this threshold with more questions and answers perhaps, but with something more valuable than certainty, with clarity, with dignity, with the beginning of a knowing that cannot be undone, and there is more they wish to share when you are ready to receive it.